Hi kids, it's the most wonderful time of year. It's Christmas time, and during this Christmas vacation, we here at the Creative Writing Institute, we are doing some storytelling, especially to get you set for your night's rest. And today we are going to read the story of the legend of the poinsettia plant. Do you know what the poinsettia plant is? Have you noticed there's a red flower that you see on Christmas trees? Sometimes it's white. If you have, that's called the poinsettia. And in fact, this here would be that red flower. We also have the white one as well, which is also next to me here. So we are going to read a story today that will tell us why this flower is associated with Christmas. It's called The Legend of the Poinsettia. Pepita was a little girl who lived in a tiny village in Mexico. Every Christmas, the village would set up a manger like the one in Bethlehem, and all the villagers would bring gifts for the baby Jesus and set them at the altar of the church. Pepita loved looking at the manger and seeing people bring gifts, but her family were very poor and had no money to buy gifts. One Christmas Eve, Pepita walked into the church with her brother Pedro. "I wish I had a gift to put by the altar," Pepita said. "Why don't you pick some flowers?" asked Pedro. "A gift doesn't have to be expensive as long as you have the right feeling in your heart when you give it." Pepita looked around but couldn't see any flowers. There were some green weeds growing at the side of the road, but she'd feel embarrassed putting those on the altar. But there was nothing else, and she wanted to give something. So she picked the weeds, and she and Pedro walked on to the church. When they walked into the church, they saw the wonderful manger and all of the expensive gifts. Some villagers smiled when they saw Pepita walk towards the altar with her bunch of green weeds. No one laughed at her because they knew Pepita's family was poor and could not afford to buy a gift. Pepita laid the weeds down at the foot of the altar and turned to walk away. But she hadn't taken 3 steps before she heard the villagers gasp. She looked back at the altar. The leaves at the top of the weeds had started to change color from a dull green to a beautiful warm shade of crimson red. And as she watched, she saw the weeds burst into flowers in the shape of a star. The village kept on its tradition of displaying a manger and bringing gifts to the church, but every year, in the middle of the display, it was kept for the poorest families of the village to bring the wonderful flowers that Pepita had brought. The villagers called the flowers of the Holy Night. They have been the symbol of Christmas for people everywhere. So children, that is the legend of the poinsettia plant. And remember, no gift is too expensive, no gift is too small, too big. What matters about your gift is giving it from your heart. That is what counts the most. And also, not just giving your gifts, but receiving your gifts as well. Receive it with all the love because your gift was given with love. Have a wonderful night, children. Sweet dreams.